Hey everybody, it's Rob here. I have been playing and testing a pre-launch version of Diablo 4, and I've been taking an in-depth look at the Barbarian class in particular. I've played quite some hours. I've reached the end game. I had a blast doing all the activities. The game is a lot of fun, guys. It's so much fun to play. I've done PvP. I've done the Whispers, the open world, collected the altars. I've been doing nightmare dungeons, very high nightmare dungeons, very hard nightmare dungeons. I've been fighting like hard bosses. I've been doing the Helltide, and like I said, I've tested many different builds on the Barbarian. Like it's probably like about 12 builds I played in total, and about like 5 to 6 that will make it into a video here because I think they are like pretty viable. I've already made build about the strongest Barbarian build, which is probably the Women Barbarian, at least for farming content, which you can find in the description below. But today there is another strong contender I wanted to show you here as we go along with this footage. I'll be doing a 80 Nightmare Dungeon with the Double Swing Barbarian. I've made videos on Double Swing before. I really like the skill. It's like a very fast-paced dual wield Barbarian playstyle, which is kind of unique, like in compared to. I guess every playstyle is kind of unique, but like this one just really feels like smooth to play because it has like this amazing attack speed, and the animation is like really swift, really fast, and it basically crushes. Like I'm out here riding on my blood mount to a nightmare dungeon. This is like a nightmare dungeon tier 80 that I've been using as a sort of benchmark. Like I've always been running 80 because it is like not crazy push tier, but it's like a very solid tier where you need a decent build to clear. You'll see when you play these yourself. It's not that easy. So you only have like 4 lives here, and I'm basically playing a stun version with triple shout, Wrath of the Berserk, and double swing. So you can see me here casting my shouts, getting my fury, and then whenever I see an elite, I basically stun it, and then I just swipe with my double swing, and it's hitting in the millions versus stun target, and it also makes everything vulnerable all the time, which make it really strong. So I'm going through this dungeon here. My first objective is to slay 3 keepers. I will be going over all the gear, all the skills, and the paragons in particular. But first of all, I want to show you this playstyle here. So yeah, we see an elite. We basically hit Groundstorm and like we smash it for millions. And with the rune that we use on double swing, we basically, whenever we hit a stun target, we gain all the fury back. And not only do we like spend and then gain it, and that can trigger a lot of effects like the limitless rage. You see the 60 stacks down here, which is a 1.6 multiplier. You can trigger a lot of healing and all sorts of like beneficiary item and skill and paragon effects to you. You see here there's a triple elite, like so I'm actually losing some life here, so I gotta be a bit careful because the AoE isn't too big. Like maybe that's the one downside of this build, but there's not really a need to kill all the small trash monsters here. You see, like for the objective, I just need to rush the main guys, and yeah, it's really strong at that. Like hitting, like every swipe hits for like 1,000,000 when the buffs are up, or it can even go higher when they are stunned as well. Because we're using like very different multipliers versus like the different kind of like crowd-controlled enemies. So whenever we have our Groundstorm up, which is about every second elite, I would say, we use it to stun it. Then we have Infinite Fury and we have extra damage and the monsters can't do anything. So that's where this build basically really shines. It's just like picking out, some dangerous, important or targets that are on objective. And you see here, once we stun it, man, we're hitting for like millions on twice on every swipe basically, because double swing swipes once, 1,000,000 damage, and then it swipes out again another 1,000,000 damage in the same frame. So it's really strong. Like you see here, like I'm just like cutting through these elites, really. So very nice build. Like I always say, I'm like basically like eating these elites because like the animation looks like similar to the Barb just like taking a bite out of the elites with the weapons, or taking a big chunk out and basically splitting them in half. It's amazing. So like this feels like really smooth to play. You have lots of movement speed. You just blitz through, like snipe out the most important targets. And fantastic playstyle, I think. So I'm getting like some good shrines here that obviously like help a lot. And here's the last final objective. I stun him, and then even like 2 million hits you see like per swipe when he crits. And I think we have about 50% crit chance. Again, we will go through all the stats in just a minute here. Now we have the Conduit Shrine, and I mean, this is as strong as ever. The objective is already done, by the way, so this entire dungeon run is going to be like 2 minutes. I'm purposely waiting here because I have Conduit. Because Conduit would one-shot the boss, but I'm waiting here until it's out so I can actually like show you guys and properly benchmark this build to all the other testing I've done on all the other builds. So I'm not using the Conduit to kill the boss, and you see here it's like very strong single target build because it makes it vulnerable. You see this blue bar, it means it's vulnerable. It's vulnerable all the time, and we kill this boss in like 3-4 seconds. It's insane. So this was just an 80. We can upgrade our gear now, and I need to be a bit mindful now because the Rob from the past that was playing here, he blasted, or I blasted through these items very fast. So I need to like be on the stop button here. So this is my helm. It generates, has a lot of fortify. Cooldown reduction is really important. And again, I said like whenever you swipe with double swing, you generate like the rune generates the fury again if it hits a stun target. So this basically always gives us our fortify. Next item here is our chest, challenging shout, shout cooldown reduction, the two most important sets. Fortify generation, pretty good stat as well. And here we get like a tremendous amount of armor. We apply bleed with our 200 weapon mastery expertise. So everything will be bleeding all the time, and we will basically get the 100 stacks like pretty constantly. Here is in our calm we play on the bracers, like stats here, double swing, crit chance, attack speed, and lucky hit primary resources, really like GG bracers, max roll on attack speed, 4 ranks to double swing, really strong. And you know, when we are fighting a boss, we are basically standing still and just doing double swing. So we're doing this for a 1.3 multiplier. Then we have our pants. Again, we generate a lot of fury, and it heals us with our various skill effects, like the shouts or the tempered fury. And we basically always have a barrier. It also triggers one of our weapons that gives us more damage when we have a barrier. Movement speed here we get on the boots, we get from the shouts, makes us unstoppable, the rallying cry. So this is like basically 25 plus another 25 movement speed plus another 26 plus another. Like these boots basically give us more than double our 100% movement speed. We're at the cap instantly. Also has fury cost reduction, which is very important, and all stats to gain some Paragon notes here. I don't know why this one is that bad here, but this is the stunned one. We deal 68% increased damage against stunned enemies. Slowed, Coastal, Vulnerable, all stats, like really solid stats. Here we have the critical strikes with core skills, increase attack speed by 25%, max roll again, core, closed, all stats, vulnerable. This one is missing crit damage, but I didn't have the materials to roll it all because there was like so many builds to test. But yeah, you would want to have implicit crit damage and also crit damage roll on this one. Here we have the Concealed Bone Blade. This one is the barrier. Again, we get it from our pants. Here you have the implicit double crit, closed, vulnerable, main stat. This is like best in slot, basically. Here we have our Limitless Rage. Again, like you hit a target stunned monster, like you hit it with double swing, you spend the fury and you instantly generate it, like triggering this weapon like on every string, basically. Crit implicit, crit roll, vulnerable damage, closed, main stat, really good roll. And then we have our rings. Oh man, okay, wait. I was like hovering these items so fast that the frames can't keep up in the video. We'll get there. Okay, here it is. So we have, this is like probably the best ring I found. Crit, vulnerable, resource generation for even more fury, and our shouts generate fury as well. Really strong ring. One of the best ones I found. Another one here, max roll. Shouts, cooldown is reduced for every near enemy. Again, crit, this is missing one crit roll. It has bleed damage, which we trigger with hamstring in our skill tree. We'll go over it in a second. Again, vulnerable, resource cost. Vulnerable is a separate multiplier. Really strong. Here we have the amulet, Edge Master. We basically always have full fury. You saw it, we get our fury back. A cooldown reduction, ranks 2 all defensive skills, which is challenging shout and ground stomp, so it's really strong. Fury cost reduction, damage reduction while fortify. Solid amulet, lots of attack power here, 8,000, and I think we have over 10,000 armor with our chest stacks up. And here what's really important is like the crit chance here, we have like 42 crit chance plus some extra from a passive. High crit damage, 300 something %, and plus we get another 200 I think from our glyph, so 500 plus crit damage, 450 vulnerable damage, like really solid stats overall here. That's what you want to be stacking. Crit, vulnerable, ideally close and core skill. Technique slot, we play 200 expertise. Our double swing makes everything vulnerable, and we do 15% more damage multiplicatively to all the vulnerable stuff. And we have 200 expertise. This is the weapon we attack with. It inflicts, it's basically a 1.2 multiplier over time, and also inflicts bleed, which triggers like all of our crowd control and slow effects with the hamstring passive down here. So yeah, we have lunging strike 2 points just so we get to the core. We have the violent double swing. This makes everything vulnerable basically if you hit it with both of your swings. And that's happened pretty much all the time. Ground Storm for the stuns, Rallying Cry for the resources, Challenging Shout for the toughness with the resources. We use War Cry, was just 1 point because the scaling isn't as good. We only get 1.5 damage per point, and we can spend it better in various other offensive passes where we get like 4%, I believe. And we use the Fortify rune because we just can use some extra Fortify basically. And then here's the 1 point in hamstring again that enables like all of our slow and damage versus crowd controlled enemies, things like that, together with our 200 weapons. Then we have Wrath of the Berserk, more crit damage, and the Unbridled Rage. And here are the Paragon Boards. Sorry for being a bit fast here. This is damage to closed enemies. Like, you know, we're like always in the enemy's face in the starter board. Here we have the territorial. We get damage reduction and we get 112% damage. And then on the next board here we take Hunter Killer for the elite damage. And let me go back for a sec. So here was Unbridled Rage. Ooh, I'm hovering so fast. I gotta have some good reaction time here. Let's go. Okay, this is the Marshal. It basically gives us more cooldowns for our shouts. Even like we need the Challenge Shout, we need the War Cry, and we need for damage and for damage reduction, and we need the Rallying Cry for more fury. So really important to have this one here. Just spec the minimum requirements and keep going. Like very efficient pathing here. Don't want to waste any points. Here we play the Warbringer. This basically we spend and generate fury at the same time, hitting stunned enemies. So another crazy synergy. We get insane amount of fortified. We have more fortified here and some extra fury here. Really strong territorial glyph. Damage while fortify here. Again, we basically fortify all the time. We get damage reduction. We get willpower. All the good stuff. And here is the like this one was the crit gem, by the way, down there. Because double swing is a let's go back, is a core skill. Gotta like hover like a bit longer over these nodes, man. Okay, this one. So this is the one in the Warbringer board. It gives us critical damage with core skills, which a double swing is, and critical strikes also generate 3 fury. So this glyph is like a 10 out of 10. It's like really strong for our build. Then here in this board we have the Fortify in the Decimator. And here this board we just like we have the legendary node, but this is like the exploit which makes everything vulnerable. We don't necessarily need it because we already make it vulnerable with double swing, but it's just some 120% multiplicative damage, so this one is insane. And the final board I haven't like fully spec'd out yet. I'm gonna get the healthy glyph in here, but I've not unlocked all the renown on this character, so I was not having it. But for now I have the Havoc picked up here, more crit damage, more physical damage, a really strong, basically all of our damage is physical. So yeah, this gem we will put in the Imbider, like goes in this last board. Like I think I'm missing about 20 Paragon points from all the renown, but yeah, it takes pretty long to do the renown, so I haven't done it here on this character. But you guys get the idea. So yeah, that has been the double swing Barbarian, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like this playstyle is a lot of fun. I'll definitely be like checking out and making this Barbarian a couple days after the launch when I have the gear. Really smooth to play. Again, like I think one of the most fun builds personally because it just feels so smooth, like with the attack speed and the dual wielding. There is like one variation you can play with the Ramalaldi unique where you get another 0.3 I think on the max roll damage when you have when you attack with dual wielding weapons. So that one could be another like min-max in here on this build. I have found it, but I've not really like I've tested it briefly, but I've not like min-max with it because my roll was pretty bad. So there's definitely even more potential, and 80 is already pretty high. So this one also I think has potential to go all the way up to tier 100, which is the max tier in this version I played. But yeah, we'll see. I have a lot more content coming over the next days, guys. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer all of them. But we'll see because the game is releasing pretty soon and there's a lot of stuff to go through. And I also have a lot more videos a lot more build guides, in particular for Barbarian and various endgame systems coming, guys. The game is amazing. Like if you like Diablo at all, I think this one you gotta get. Like it's fantastic. It's so much fun, and I'm really looking forward to all of this and showing you, what the Barbarian can do, what builds we can come up with, what things we can theory craft. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So yeah, stay tuned for all of that, guys, and I'll see you pretty soon. Take care, everybody. Rob over and out. Bye bye.